Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. I guess it's good morning, good afternoon, and for some it may be Saturday. So welcome to Open Office Hours. We're so excited to have you all today. I'm Brandy. I'm part of the team here at Synchro, and I'll let my colleagues introduce themselves.
Hey everybody, it's Tatiana. Welcome.
Hey everybody, it's Hannah. What's up?
Hey everybody, it's Andy.
Yes, we're so excited to have Andy with us again. I think this is like week 4 or 5. It's been incredibly valuable. In case you guys are curious why we're so lucky to have Andy is policy inheritance has officially rolled out to every single account. So we are so excited. It's been super smooth. He's here today to answer any questions that maybe you guys have. I know that we also have some others joining us who maybe haven't joined us in the past. So this is Open Office Hours, and it's a safe place to ask any questions that you have. It can be about policy inheritance. It can be about anything. We're here to help you guys. We do use the Q&A. That's the best place. I did disable the chat. So drop your questions in Q&A. It helps us stay organized. We try to go in order. If you notice that it's been a few minutes and we haven't answered your question, it's likely because we're asking someone else if they can help us with it. So sometimes we have to reach out to support. Just make sure that we use this time as like, I guess questions about like how-tos or what's the best way to do this rather than support related questions. Unfortunately, as much as we would love to help you with that, we're probably going to be sending you over to technical support if it's something specific to your business or instance. But we're going to try to answer every single question that you guys have today, so nothing's off the table. And since Andy's here, utilize that too. You can take advantage of having Andy here today. We will use the chat box. So we may be answering some questions via chat if we start to run out of time, or if it's just something simple that we'll go ahead and answer that way. But we're also going to be dropping links in there. So KB articles, videos, we have an awesome video on the policy inheritance too. So we'll be dropping things like that in there. We're going to try to remember to give you like a 5-minute warning or 10-minute warning before we're done today. So you can grab those links because they will disappear when we're done. But super excited to have you guys. Feel free to start asking any questions. It doesn't have to just be on the policy inheritance topic. But if you have comments about it too, we'd love to hear it. Super excited to have you guys. I'll go ahead and answer this. I haven't read all the way through it yet, but Grady says, if I delete a user, will I get a prorated refund similar to a prorated charge for adding? I'm wanting to add a user for testing temporarily, but then remove when needed. Just want to ensure I understand charges that I will generate. So with that, you actually won't get a prorated refund. So they'll stay on the same billing cycle as you. So for example, if you pay on the 1st of every month, if that's when your Synchro bill is due and you add a new user on the 15th, you'll just pay for those 2 weeks that you would be adding them. And then the following month, if they were still in the system, you would be charged full amount for them. You can disable users though. So if you had them for 2 weeks or for a month and then you need to disable, that's no problem at all. So that's the joy of not having any contracts, right? Completely month to month if you do it that way. But no prorated refund, just a prorated charge for adding a user. Hopefully that helps.
I'll take one from Christos. He's saying, I need to ask if there's any improvements coming to the help desk interface, things like the ability to copy paste screenshots in an email. And yes, I would kind of say it like this, instead of calling out all the things that we have kind of in flight for PSA, that 2021 was kind of the year of the RMM. We're closing strong with policy inheritance, and then we've got our Mac agent coming out of beta directly behind that. 2022 is solidly going to be the year of the PSA, and I can say with pretty much 100% certainty the things that you're asking for in terms of HTML ticketing and or markdown, whatever you want to call it, things like that, definitely coming. Don't have an ETA, but we're definitely going to be tackling some of that stuff. Eric is asking about policy inheritance. What happens with my current policy per company when I turn inheritance on? Okay, I can show you that quick. So for those of you that don't know, everyone now has the ability to turn policy inheritance on. It is currently an opt-in, and we did that because we don't want to obviously turn this on right in the middle of a big project or when you're rolling out some recurring billing or whatnot. So it will get automatically enabled for you. I don't know if I had to guess by early December, but it is an opt-in. So anyways, everyone has it. You just need to turn it on. When you actually turn it on, it's going to go through this migration flow. And here's what's going to happen. This is kind of a fake customer I set up. We're going to look at every single asset belonging to this specific customer, and then obviously do this for all your customers. So this customer just had two policies. They had a server policy and a workstation policy that encompassed everything that they had in their fleet. So we're going to automatically create two subfolders for you underneath the customer. This is the parent level folder. This is going to be there for every single customer. You can't change it. And then we're going to apply the policy to said folder. So I've got a servers and workstations folder. I've got my servers and workstations policy applied to each. Then we're going to automatically move applicable assets here. So in terms of what happens to your existing policies, nothing. They're all going to be here. The only difference is that the UI is going to be this new UI, but what they did before is what they'll do now. In terms of what's being applied to individual assets, what they had before will be the same now. What we're effectively doing is just taking everything from the old model, moving you onto the new model so you can see exactly how it's going to work, but you'll have no changes being applied to your customers until you start messing with this and obviously extracting this to become a lot more useful as you kind of progress through it. If that was everything that you wanted to know, let me know if I missed anything there, because I know there's going to be a lot of questions about migration.
Yeah, that was super helpful. Thank you so much, Andy. I have a question here or two questions that are kind of related, so I'll go ahead and grab those real quick. The first one says, how do I create reports that show what Synchro does in the background for a client? I have a meeting with a client and want to be able to show them, quote unquote, what we do. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. I haven't showed this in a while, and I forgot how awesome it is for just a second, but these two questions reminded me. The second one is also very similar. It says, is there a way to open, close, or add time via a regular email without going into the portal? So I'm gonna share my screen here real quick. If you go over to either importing any scripts from the community library or you're creating a brand new script, you have the ability to use the PowerShell module that we have available down here. Or if you're a Mac user, we now have a Mac script quick help module here as well. So I'll show the PowerShell one specifically because in here, as you can do this through scripting, is going to be is the answer to both of these questions. If you have a script in here that is fixing a certain problem, say, cleaning temp files to help clear up the alert for low HD space, you can write that script here, or again, import it from the community script library. And then down here, you can go ahead and import the module. So copy paste this up there, and then include the following commands to do things like create a ticket automatically, add time to the ticket, specify how much time needs to be added, specify if you want to charge for that time or not, depending on the type of billing model that you have set up for your customer, clear the RMM alert, and then automatically close the ticket as well. So again, it's up to you which of these commands that you want to use, but a lot of the stuff, like if you're like cleaning recycling bin, cleaning temp files, stuff that is maintenance that you are handling for your customer, even if you're not manually clicking those buttons, the work is still being done, the value is still being added. It's stuff that they don't have to think about, and it's kind of stuff that you can cross off your list as well and just let us handle automatically for you. So again, using these pieces of the PowerShell module or the Mac module up here as part of scripts for you that you have either running on a one-time basis, on a schedule, or maybe as part of an automated remediation is a way for you to kind of quote unquote prove your value to your customer, like show them what it is that you're handling. Obviously, the best value that you can offer them is that everything is just running smoothly, nothing's ever down, and if they do have questions, you're always there to help them. But sometimes they just want to see a pretty report, which we have for you guys as well. So in the reporting through Syncro, you have an executive summary report builder. Builder is the key word in here. I'm not going to go super in depth. This is so intuitive to use. You literally just kind of drag and drop all the things that you want to use in here. So you build the template first. So we're going to go ahead and edit this. You add either pretty charts or text boxes or like a list, or just like, hey, thank you so much for your business, and then just include whatever modules that you know are important to them. Maybe they care about how many tickets you've done, maybe how much time you spent, how many assets are covered by antivirus, which patches. I mean, most people don't want to know about those things because that's why they hired you, is they don't want to think about those things ever. But again, using that that PowerShell module or the Mac module in scripting and having those types of metrics pulled into these reports is going to be the best way to do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tatiana. That was great. Brad has a question. I just added a new technician. Congratulations, Brad. That's awesome. Where should I have him start? Okay, I was viewing this as like a, hey, how do we get him trained up on using Synchro? So that's how I'm going to answer it. Brad, if you want to hear from Andy on where he thinks you should have him start, you let us know and just add in another question. But I am going to go ahead and share my screen here. And so in Synchro, there is going to be a training tab. And so let me just move some of my blocks here. But on the training tab, is going to be some helpful onboarding videos for you and your team. We've got a ton of resources for them to utilize. We do offer now courses called Syncro 101 and 102. I'll drop those in the chat box for registration links that then your team can get started. There are recordings of those on our YouTube page, which I will also drop in the chat box for you. And then that way, if it's easy for them to just watch the recordings and that might be easier, here they are for you. But we always recommend that you join live just because it's awesome. That way they can ask questions with live Q&A. The team is super helpful there. We also have an additional live webinar hosted on Wednesdays if that time works a little bit better for you and your team. So I'll drop that into the chat box. But we'll also have another getting started playlist. That way that can help you get your new team member all trained up and good to go.
Jeff's saying policies start per company, but can or should we create a base policy and apply it to all customers with basic things like system tray icons that would apply to all assets? Yes, 100%. Now, the only caveat being, I don't know how your customers are structured. So you might have like a break fix group, you might have a managed services group that may need different top level policies. But yeah, for the bulk of your customers, it's always easier to do that. The idea is that the more you can condense your multitude of policies down into just a few, and everybody's getting the top level one, so everybody's universally the same, and then everything else below that is kind of just for exceptions, like this asset needs to be a little bit different, or this office needs to work a little bit differently. That's when you can kind of put these smaller like micro policies on them. So 100%, that's the right way to do this, and definitely the most efficient way to do it. Derek is saying, applying my policy inheritance now, very excited for this. Thanks for fixing the biggest shortfall in my opinion. You're welcome, Derek. I agree. That really bothered me. We didn't have that, and I'm really excited that we do now. And then Link says he's building on Jeff's question about a parent policy above the customer containers. Can we provide a portion of the inherited policy? One use case I have in mind is a per customer hyperlink line item in the system tray menu, where all the other items in the system tray menu are the same. If I understand correctly, what you're asking, the way inheritance works is you can override things at a lower level. Like if you want everybody to check for missing AV and there's one asset where you know is not going to have AV because there's some weird requirement, you can actually go and put it like a micro policy on there that just says disable this check for AV and it will override what's above it. There's parts of policy inheritance which are additive only because they get absolutely crazy to manage if they're not. And the system tray is one of those things. So you can't explicitly disable like a particular item of a system tray. You can only add to it. So you can certainly have like your base stuff and then add this URL or change the URL as you need to go down the list. But you couldn't implicitly say, hey, this URL doesn't need to be here in the tray down here where it needs to be for everywhere else. It would kind of work in reverse. There's a couple things like that. Event log policies are like that. The system tray, Windows updates, they're all additive only.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Grady's asking, how are the private staff and tech reminder email fields under ticket settings, additional settings, different from the notification section settings? Woo, tongue twister. I seem to be having trouble finding a balance between notifications I need and getting overloaded. So that's a really, really great point. And I'm actually, the next question I'm going to answer might help too. But the private staff email that you're getting or that you see in that section, that's where you're going to receive alerts from your specific user account. The tech reminder is going to go, you can have certain reminder triggers that are going to go out to all of the technicians. If you don't want to receive those, I would change those to something other than your email. Otherwise, you are going to get emails a lot. And just a best practice there is that some users will create like a specific email address just for admin notifications, and then another one for tech reminder emails. So that would be a best practice on that one, just so that you're not getting a lot. The next question I'm going to answer, I'm going to use ticket automations and automated remediations to answer that. And I think too, Grady, that may help with balancing what to get notified on and what not to get notified on. So I'm just going to start sharing my screen over here. Actually, let me make sure I've got the right screen for you guys. The first one I'm going to show, because this next question that's coming in is from Anonymous. Welcome. So I'd like to know what's the best practice for using outsourced technicians from Field Nation, Work Market. The tech is working only for a single ticket or project. Is there a way for them to interact with the ticket without me purchasing a whole user seat for them? For them to get the most out of the system, I would use a seat. And then, like we talked about earlier, is if you have them for 2 weeks, just disable them or restrict access to specific features inside of the system as well. Now, and a lot of people will do that for like contractors for a couple weeks or a month or whatever. But another option you have is with both ticket automations and automated remediation. So Grady, this is important for you too. If there are certain automations that you know, I have to get notified on this, you could set it up to where, okay, anytime this RMM alert happens, I want to make sure that I get an email. But also in this section to help answer the question right now is if you want to email a custom email address, I might say, okay, if this certain issue arises, in that case, I'm going to email that specific person that is going to be working on this ticket. And you can use the tags below to use like asset name, for example. And if I want to pull in a specific asset name, is offline, I don't know, whatever alerts you want to get, you could notify that person. They're not going to be able to come into Synchro and interact with that specific ticket, but now at this point, they would be able to go work on that asset if they were using another tool or you use remote access or something. Same thing holds true with ticket automations. Is anything that happens in the system, I might say if it is a specific ticket type. So maybe you have certain types that are going to go to an outsourced person. Then in that case, I could email a custom email address here. And then Grady, also back to your question, if there are certain ticket types that you know you want to get notified on, you could set it up here too. So it just allows you to be more picky and choosy about who's getting notified, when they're getting notified, and then if they need to, if someone outside of your technicians inside of Synchro need to get notified too. So hopefully that helps. It's just a little bit of a workaround, but I would always recommend just to get the most out of the system, they would be fully added as a user with specific permissions. Hopefully that helps.
So we got Jesse asking, can we copy multiple policies to multiple clients like base server policy and base workstation policy? When you say copy, I'm not 100% sure what you mean, but let me share my screen here for a second and I can show you what I think you mean. Like I've got so this folder, this structure as an example, like servers and workstations, this would be found on 90% of my clients, 95% of my clients. And so you can reuse this policy on all your customers if you want to. So you can literally have one policy that applies to, 1,000 customers or whatever. And even in this instance, like I've got the same structure across 2 different offices. I just have them segregated for different reasons. If you're actually talking about like bulk deploying policies, you can partially. And what I mean by that is you can bulk deploy the top level policy here from the policies tab. And you've got 2 options when you do that. You can be like, I want every single customer, no matter what they have currently assigned, to get my top level policy, which is what other people were asking about. This is like my base policy. Or you can check this. So if you've got like 50 out of 1,000 clients that need something very, very specific, and you went ahead and manually set those up, you can do this and it'll basically skip any top level folder that has something currently assigned and just apply it out to ones that don't have anything assigned to cover everybody else. So that you can definitely do. If I didn't totally answer your question, let me know. And then Christos is saying, is there any trusted source you can disclose where we can get some scripts we may need that we do not find in the community? We are looking for ready-made things that can work in Synchro. Yeah, I would recommend, I don't normally like to give out recommendations just in case somebody's like, hey, that recommendation sucked, Danny sucks kind of thing. But Cyberdrain's a company that we work with regularly. They actually provide us scripts to the community every month now. Our community has events every month that they can vote on their favorite ideas for scripts, and Calvin at Cyberdrain will custom write them for us. And then he's got a ton of stuff on his blog. He's kind of like famous for PowerShell scripting in the communities, in every RMM community, not just Synchro. So definitely check out, it's cyberdrain.com. And then Christos again, he's asking, We get some requests from clients to show them what we do on their PCs. Is there any way to have full visibility per PC for X amount of days in detail view? I think what he's asking is basically compliance monitoring. If a customer is like, hey, I need to make sure that you didn't remote on this machine in the past 7 days or whatever. We don't necessarily have like a specific compliance report that way, but there is an asset audit report, which can show you like things that would have fallen into recent activity, like, you know, one of your techs started a remote access session, you backgrounded into the machine for like remote command prompt or something, you ran a script, all that kind of stuff would appear there. So you could make that if you ever had some kind of situation legally where you had to provide proof that, you know, you didn't do X over the past month on, you know, Y assets, you can definitely do that.
Awesome. Awesome. I love the Cyberdrain scripting stuff. That sounds super cool. Okay, I have a question here from Robert. It says, I have a new client and they were wondering if one of his staff opens a ticket, is there a way for the ticket to go to him for approval before it comes to us? So I'm going to share my screen. There's two ideas that I had for this. One of them is if you go over to your customer profile, if you tab over to contacts, on a contact per contact basis, you can decide who is the direct report. So for example, in our situation, maybe the finance person is going to be reporting to Crystal. And so basically what this means is the direct reports email will always be included in the CC on the ticket via email communication. So that can be one option, is they're just going to be notified anytime anybody creates a ticket. Again, that's option number one. Another option here is that you could set it, if you go over to your admin section under your mailboxes, you could set up a custom ticket status to where it says needs approval by manager. So it can say like ticket is new, but needs ticket status is new, but needs approval from management before continuing forward or something like that. So that can be another option there for you. Or you can also set a ticket automation to where you can say if a ticket comes in, then it needs to be approved by a manager. Again, just look through the conditions set here, depending on what the preferences are. So those are a couple things that you can take a look at.
I just had a follow-up to the tickets that I was showing earlier with like outsourcing or emailing a custom email address. They will not be able to add any type of service work done to the ticket. Nothing that they won't actually be able to add anything into a Synchro ticket. They would only be able to get the notification essentially so they could work on that device elsewhere. But they would have to be a user inside of Synchro for any information to be pulled there. Yep, sorry about that.
All right, I've got a question from Randy. Hey, Randy. I've noticed an issue I need some sort of workaround for. When a contact at a customer opens a ticket, it doesn't assign the ticket to that contact, even though they exist underneath the customer. Pause. Randy, I'm assuming this is from when you open from the system tray icon, not from email, because if they submit via email, it should be attaching them to the ticket. It only assigns the ticket if the contact is assigned to a specific assets. Techs end up contacting the main contact rather than the one who opened the ticket. Automations don't contact the contact that opened, etc. Is there a way through automation to do this? Thanks. Randy, not that I know of right now. So let me go ahead and just share my screen so we can share with everybody what you're noticing. So if the ticket is opened from the system tray icon and the contact is assigned to that device, when they open up the ticket, not only will it pre-fill their information in the form, but it will also assign the ticket to them. If nobody is assigned, what will happen is the asset will come in, and of course, no one's assigned. And in the communications box, it will show you the pre-filled information that they have filled out. Then for you and your team, what you'll need to do is just come over to the assigned contact field and select a contact. And so, especially since they're already in the system, this is really going to be the best way for someone to be then selected so that you're not communicating with the main contact and you are associating a specified contact to that ticket.
I have a suggestion, Randy, that you train all of the customers to create tickets from their system tray menu, and then there will not be this problem. That's what I would recommend, because then if they are assigned to the asset, right? I know you said they would have to be assigned to the asset, but then it will make it really easy. I would do that. Easier said than done, I realize. And then Grady's asking, there's like only 2 questions in here, so I might have time to show something that I think is neat. Are we able to build custom email templates or only edit existing? So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you our mailer section, which is where you can create some custom emails. So this is in the mailer. You can create a new custom campaign if you would like to. You are going to be able to choose who you want this to go to. So if it's going to be like a one-time blast or it's an automated triggered email, I can also come in here and say, okay, let's send this 1 day after a new customer has been created and maybe they're a lead. So I'm using saved customer searches or saved asset searches. You might say, let's send this email 1 day after after a ticket's closed or 7 days after a ticket's closed. You can set up some different custom campaigns here. So this is where you would do that. You can't create like in the PDF and email templates, you can't create separate ones there. But again, you could use like ticket automations as well. You know, if this happens, or if I've been waiting on a customer for 48 hours, haven't heard back, you could use automations to create some custom ones there. And since we have a little bit of time, I want to use this while we're talking about saved searches. Oh, perfect. Good. Okay, I'm glad that helps. So I worked with our team to, especially since Andy's here, I want to make him proud, right? He likes to talk about money and ways to make money. So we actually just created this, worked with the team to work on like upsell opportunities for you guys. So this is a KB that I'll drop in the chat box for you, but it's just a way that you can quickly identify a group of devices that may not have antivirus, for example. So we'll use the drip campaigns in a second, but what you'll do is you'll actually go into, whoops, let me go here, into the assets and RMM section. You can go out to the left. There's going to be this little magnifying glass and you can create a saved search. And I might call this upsell ops for Mav. And I can create a saved search and look for all devices that don't have antivirus. I already have one of these in here. So for me, I have 12 devices that don't have antivirus on them. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into that mailer and I'm going to create a custom campaign and I'm going to tell them how or why they need antivirus. So I'm going to say, let's send an email to everyone that doesn't have antivirus. I'll use my little saved asset search here, and I'm going to tell them all the amazing things about AV, or maybe I'm going to tell them things that could happen if they didn't have it. And guarantee you overnight, people are going to be like, whoa, I need this. And it's a quick, easy win for you. So I like that. And then another section that I've been working on recently is like in the report section, you can actually utilize the executive summary report builder to just, or excuse me, actually, I want to show the internal report builder. And I created one for like upsell opportunity, but let me just open my ops, my little reports here. And in one box, I could show all devices across all customers that don't have antivirus. And then I could also create these for different customers to show what my opportunity is for them. So this is the internal report builder. Really love it. Each little block can be a different customer, represent a different customer, or can represent all. So utilize this. And if you guys have any questions about these, let me know. I really like this section.
I will say there's like a tear in my eye here. I'm very proud of that. That was amazing.
Yay!
Well, I'll just add that I know universally the one things that MSPs typically suck at is selling in general. And everybody has no issues fixing problems when the problems come to them. They typically have a problem with going out and finding problems to fix for people. And upsell opportunities is a huge way to do that. And I'll add that we do have like full-blown custom fields that you can put on customers and assets and use that as a way to segment off customers or particular assets and then roll that into mailer. And one of the number one ways we used to make money, I know a lot of people treat break fix like a pejorative term sometimes, like, oh, I'm too big, I'm not going to deal with those, you know, lowly break fix scum or however they say it in the less nice way. And basically, I'm the exact opposite. 40% of our revenue was break fix, and we were a 12-person MSP. It was over $1 million a year of labor revenue alone. It can be a big revenue generator if you know how to attack it. And the idea of micro targeting is a great way to do that within the system. So as a quick example, it's not just about what kind of computer they have. It can be about how much money they have, and not to sound vain, but if they have a big giant house or they have a very small house, that's something you probably want to be recording and then classifying people on. And a good example is mesh networking, consumer-based mesh networking kind of came to fruition a couple of years ago, and now it's relatively cheap. And you don't want to target a marketing ad at people with a 2,000 square foot house because they just don't qualify for the product. And vice versa, if you've got giant houses, that's the only kind of stuff you want to sell to them because they're the prime target for that. So definitely utilize the system to benefit. It's so many free opportunities to make money from existing clients without necessarily having to go off and procure new ones.
I just want to add to that too. Grady's asking, does the no AV checkmark mean no AV at all or no integrated? It means no AV at all. So I just want to mention that.
Cool. Thank you so much. Randy just has a follow-up. He's just mentioning that the devices that are opening the tickets from his issue earlier are just multiple user devices. So the data that they fill out is correct, but there's no automation to notify them that a new ticket got opened other than just the confirmation. And so Randy, I'll definitely pass that along for you, but then also just as a suggestion, if it makes it easier because it's just too difficult with the system tray, in the system tray, you can have them just email you. And so if it's easier to not have the agent contact form and just have them have that option for quick email, that might be another way to do it as well. That way it makes sure to attach them into the ticket.
Thank you so much, Hannah. I have a question from Anonymous. Says, question regarding disabled products on disabled items in products and services. We have some items that are previously disabled, but we need to enable them again. Every time we update the details on the said item, it always prompts us that the item is disabled. What's the reason for this? Thank you. So I just tested it on mine. It does not give me that error message. So please reach out to our support team. I don't have a way to troubleshoot that for you on our call today. So you should be able, once you like I said, I just tested it. Once you re-enable the product, you should be able to make any edits and save those changes and use them. So again, reach out to support on that one.
Cool, thank you. I'm going to give you my quick, easy way of Anonymous is asking about the benefits and difference of pushing AV through Synchro versus Pax8. So I'm going to tell you the benefits of that for sure. It's not just a deployment thing, right? A lot of people look at it as, well, once I have it deployed, I don't have to deploy it again. So there are a lot of benefits of purchasing it directly through Synchro rather than Pax8. One of those benefits obviously is the easy deployment, the silent deployment through a policy. If you purchase through anyone other than Syncro, you will not be able to integrate it at all. So yes, the billing from Pax8 would be integrated, but in terms of alerting, reporting, anything like that, it wouldn't be integrated. So one of the areas I have set up here is the automated remediation. So you can set up different alerts for your integrated AV. Another option is in the reports. So you can include this as part of your executive summary. If you're showing your value to a customer at the end of the month or end of the quarter and you want to see how many threats have been detected, that's an excellent area to show them. On the asset detail page itself, you are actually able to run scans directly in the system, which is going to be available for Bitdefender, Webroot, or MCSoft. So all three of them have that option. So there's definitely a lot of benefits. Just having it integrated makes it really easy. You do manage it in another platform, the Gravity Zone portal, but we don't want you to have to live out of that portal all day, every day. We want you to be able to get as many alerts as possible through here so you can fix it through here. But yeah, there's a lot of benefits to it. Definitely reach out to one of us if you're interested, and we can always get you on the call with that respective partner, and they can give you a tour.
Christos is asking about a specific KB, saying that it didn't deploy and they had to, a Windows update, and they had to go ahead and do it manually. I don't know this KB by heart, but I have a sneaking suspicion this is a major feature update, and like the major releases, or it's like, whatever the hell it's called, revision 2 or whatever. I guess this one's 2.1H1, but like if you were also going from like Windows 10 to Windows 11, we don't do those major feature releases. We'll do everything else. But those ones are purposely skipped because a lot of folks won't realize they're going to deploy, and then they wake up and they've got hundreds of customers and all of a sudden have Windows 11 and they weren't preparing them for it. So they're not there by design. And then Grady's saying, I know I'm a bit overactive today. I think he means with all his questions, but Grady, dude, like we're here for you guys. So ask all the questions. Yeah, don't feel bad about asking all the questions you want. That's the point. Is there anything in the works directly in Synchro or perhaps some third-party method to run a network discovery like Atera has? Sorry for mentioning competition. Synchro is far better. Just loved the discovery tool. So yeah, first of all, of course, Synchro is far better. We all know that, so I won't waste time with that one. But with the network discovery thing, if I recall, and I could be wrong here, but the last time I looked at it, I believe it had to be deployed on a server. And that kind of negates some of the value. And the reason I say that is because if you've got a server in the environment, then theoretically, you've got everything connected via, Active Directory, and you're using GPO to deploy your agents anyway. So theoretically, if you've got a network where every single asset that comes on the platform, or excuse me, on the network is supposed to have Synchro installed, you're just going to have it in GPO deployed anyway. So the discovery tool isn't really helpful in the way that they have it designed. So the answer honestly is right now, no. I kind of say the same thing with everything, never say never, but that's not one that probably is going to be on the radar for that reason. We do have SNMP, which it's not going to go out and scan the network for devices, but you can add stuff that way. But I have a sneaking suspicion you're talking specifically about like Windows assets, and you'd handle it through the server. That's kind of how we do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andy. I have a question says, do you have any templates for worksheets, for example, new user or offboarding checklists, system tray menu options, for example, restarting print spooler, or anything that we can implement without having to design and craft ourselves? So I'm going to share a couple suggestions. So out of the box, the library that we do currently have is the community script library that was populated by the community, and now we have Cyberdrain helping us out with those based on the things that you guys upvote, and then they build those scripts specifically for you guys. In regards to worksheets, we don't have any built out of the box for that. Same thing with system tray icon, like options, we don't. We do have a couple different templates in the email campaign system, like Brandy showed that KB. You can follow that on like possible upsell antivirus emails that you can send out. The best suggestion that I have here is kind of new to Synchro. So for those of you that haven't seen it yet, we do have a Synchro support community forum now, and we do see a lot of you guys sharing tips and tricks in here, kind of responding back and forth to each other of like, what is the best way? How are you guys setting this up? How does your system tray icon menu look like? So I would take a look in here. If it hasn't posted yet, either obviously search or post it yourself. And I'm sure the community, it is super active. I don't think we've made a ton of marketing announcements around this this new kind of community that we have available, but it is there for those of you guys that want to kind of get in right at the beginning of things, and it'll just continue to grow from there. The other option here is if you aren't part of our Synchro Facebook group, it is super active. People are responding, like people post like an hour ago, and then there's like multiple comments. There's almost 3,000 people in here. So if you even search for like system tray, people will post screenshots, things like that. Our community is phenomenal. So I definitely recommend, while we are working on building out either bootstrapped options for the system tray or the worksheets, leaning on the community to see what other MSPs are doing there. So that's going to be my best suggestion for now. And I think that's the only one I grabbed. So I'll let you guys take it over.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Tatiana. John has a question. I have a customer custom field that holds their MCSoft installed token. I want to search for all of the customers where that token is empty. Is there a way, if their devices have a policy with MCSoft installed? Oh, I read this as the custom field was on the asset, not on the customer. So I'm wondering, okay, I might have to come back to this because I had assumed it was on the asset. And so I'll just show that then for now. So if it was on the asset, you could, in the saved asset searches, go ahead and granularly add a property condition, which is your custom field, and then be able to add search granularity here. Another thing you can do is, if it is an asset custom field is in a report, be able to pull in and customize those columns where it could house the data with your custom field, and then export via CSV and see which ones are missing. I'm going to do some searching for if you can do it on the customer custom field. So I'll have to get back to you.
Yeah, I was just going to say you can create customer groups like on the customer saved search essentially. I just don't know. I know it's not as granular as the saved asset searches, but I know you can look for like drop downs and stuff. I don't know if you could do it that granular, but we can definitely look at that. Since I'm unmuted, I'll just answer this question Darren has. It's funny. I swear this question comes up all the time, but he wants to know, how can I put my own items in the issues or to-dos that pops up in the lower left of the screen? When I do reminders, I only see them in the top bar. So it's funny because a lot of people ask about this, but you don't want anything to be here. So why things pop up here is like if there is an error with something connecting. So you actually don't add items to this. It would just be like actionable items essentially that you need to do based on what's going on in the system. So I would love to be able to have like a to-do list that you can create here, but unfortunately this isn't an area for that. This is things that you don't necessarily want to see in your issues or to-do list. Comes up a lot.
Okay, I think I have, John, a recommendation for you to try to see if it gets the results you're looking for from what Brandy shared. So on the customers module, you'll have the magnifying glass here where you can make a customer saved search. So I would try and make a new search that then has the customer text field with your custom field, and then just leave that blank and then hit save and see if that gives you the data you're looking for.
Okay, since we have a break, we have 0 questions in here, which is crazy. 19-minute warning. So there are a lot of awesome links in here that Hannah and Tatiana have dropped in the chat box. Feel free to grab those if you think any of those would be beneficial. I would grab them anyways because I promise they will be beneficial. Grab those because they will disappear in about 18 minutes. But remember, any question, any question. I'll read this out loud from Grady. Shout out and question. Andy, thanks for the Facebook group work. Lots of great stuff here. Just ignore the venting members. Hey, that's what makes our product better. We appreciate everyone. Just be nice to us. Tatiana, how many monitors do you have? Noticed a lot of network. It's true. We could not do our job without multiple monitors. So if you notice, we're looking over here, reading questions. We're looking over here, sharing our screen. I'm sure everyone here. I know Andy has a lot, right? We can see that.
I feel like maybe I need to post in the Facebook group because I have I have my laptop down here and then I have a screen above, but because the laptop is like this small, the screen is like this big. So it makes sense for me, but I have been wanting to like restructure my entire desk. I've moved it like 50,000 times and this is the best and it still feels like the worst. So maybe I'll post in the Facebook group and be like, can everybody show me how
I
your
would love to
monitors
see
are?
that.
Yeah, I just want to see
Everyone's.
how everybody's set up. I'd love that.
Yeah, I can only use those big ultra wide ones. That's all I
Yeah.
use. It's impossible for me now to work on anything else.
Yeah.
Randy says, I'm looking to automate tickets more based on status, customer reply, waiting on customer, etc. Want to show how and what we can do with that? Yeah. So let me share this. What I do is I would do that through your ticket automation. So I'm going to go into admin and under tickets, it should be the last one. You'll see your ticket automations. I have a couple that are set up in here. Would love to hear from others what they think is most useful. I actually just saw in the Facebook group, someone posted they wanted to see everyone's automated remediations and how they were using that. So I thought that was cool. You guys can learn from each other. But things like, okay, this ticket status is in waiting on a customer, like you said, and it hasn't been updated in a couple days. Well, what can you do with that? Well, we can just resolve that ticket. And then also you can email them and just let them know, hey, we're waiting on you. This ticket hasn't been responded to. Please reach out if anything else comes up. So you can definitely utilize it that way. I've also seen people utilize it in like outside of their business hours. So you could say, if a new ticket comes in outside of business hours, well, maybe I want to send them an email that says, this is outside of my business hours. I'll be in touch within 24 hours or contact XYZ. Some people have technicians who are on call as well. So if a new ticket comes in outside of business hours, they have like a custom email address that they would email. You could use it that way. If anyone else has other examples they like to utilize, ticket automations is awesome. But I also think it's worth using the automated remediation section too. Just keep them cleaned up.
For sure. I have a question here from Crystal. Says we use another accounting system and we need a way to print out the tickets we need to charge. We then need to pass them to our accounting department so that they will know what to invoice. Is there a way in the private note or somewhere else to add some internal information that we can also print while it's not visible to the customer? I have lots of questions here, lots of suggestions. I guess my first question would be, I'm going to share my screen. I'm curious to see if there's a reason that you're not using the built-in invoicing through Synchro, because we did try, this is like what we're known for, is how easy it is to roll any tickets, ticket notes, any time spent on tickets with the appropriate costs, to roll them automatically into invoices, automatically get paid through a payment processor, and automatically sync to an accounting department. So I'm curious if there's something that you're using that we're either not integrating with, or if just kind of curious what the setup there is. So a couple of suggestions that I do have here, like if there is a reason that you're wanting to keep your current setup, you could edit your custom ticket statuses. That would be one way to kind of see which things have been printed, which things have not been printed. Because yes, you can include private notes of like notes for the accounting person of what they need to do that will never be visible to the customer. That's one option there. Or again, like I said, if the ticket is resolved, you could say resolved dash needs to be printed or something like that. And then whoever is going in at the end of the day, or again, I'm not 100% sure what your process is, they can go ahead and create a saved search in here to then just view tickets that are in that status of needs to be printed, print those in bulk, and then they can move them to a status of like already printed, ready to be invoiced, or whatever the other status might be. So that's one option that's available there for you. Another one is over in our admin section. You have the ability here in your email or PDF and email templates, the capability to choose what your ticket template is going to include. And again, you can edit this ticket template to include whatever details that you want. You can pull in multiple different types of tags of the things that you want included in here. Again, it just depends on where you want to leave those notes and which tags are attached to them. So that's another option there. And then the other thing, just to kind of think super high level about this, is if you're not giving your customers access to the tickets via the customer portal, you could technically leave notes in there that they wouldn't be able to see since they don't have access to that. And that's going to be here in the customer information section under portal user permission groups, if you wanted to kind of lock that down to everybody except for the business owner or the manager or whoever it might be. So just kind of some suggestions for you there. I'm really hoping that is helpful. Oh, okay. Crystal says we use Zoho. It integrates. If it integrates it, we don't integrate with Zoho, but we do sell hardware, software services, and other services. We have regulations on accounting being in Europe and not like in the US. Okay, I get that. I get that, Christos. Let me know if those suggestions are helpful. Happy to expand. We still have like 12 minutes left, so definitely happy to share. Or also attending those live training sessions that Hannah sent over. Those are super useful in getting custom workarounds and things like that. The Syncro 101 and 102 that we host 4 days a week. Definitely you can join those, or the Q&As on Wednesdays or Fridays. So let us know how we can help you.
So Jorge's asking, what are your opinions of the new Microsoft RMM? So Jorge, I will say that this is being recorded and I know people at Microsoft, so I do not want them knocking at my door if I say too many bad things about them. So I will just say this, that whenever they get into anything other than operating systems, which they obviously dominate at, they tend to struggle a little bit. I think the exception to that is obviously Office 365, which is a massive home run for them and really kind of revolutionized how MSPs can deal with email in the cloud without having to manage, outdated Exchange servers at premises and things like that. But to give some clarity on what I'm talking about, like Windows Mobile, that thing was, amazing. Microsoft Zoom was amazing. MSN Network did really well. We got the Microsoft Portrait. Like there's just a laundry list of things that they wanted to attack that didn't go particularly well. So I don't know. I mean, use your own judgment, I think, on the rest of that one. And then Randy's asking what platform Synchro's developed on. He's been learning Python and Django. Yeah, so our core web platform is done on Ruby on Rails, and then our agents are variants of .NET. So yeah, you want to go off and learn Rails. Like we're constantly growing. We're the fastest growing MSP platform out there, I believe. So we're always going to be hiring. So go learn Rails, show us what you got, and then we'll take a look.
That's awesome. Love it. Okay, Anonymous is asking, what is the difference between the out and the out for lunch buttons and the Synchro time clock? Because they seem to do the exact same thing. So I'm just going to share my screen just in case people haven't seen that there is a clock out function. So Anonymous, what it's going to do is, especially like if you want to, for admin reporting, denote when someone goes out for lunch and then comes back in for lunch and then actually clocks out, that's going to be the difference. So it's more going to show you in a report when they actually took the lunch and then when they were out for the day. So yes, it does the same function that it clocks them out, but then it'll be reported in a different way. And then Grady is asking, is there a report where I can audit outbound emails sent from within Synchro? And so in the admin section, I think I was in it over here, there's going to be a status dashboard. Whoa, is it Friday? There's a tongue twister there. But on the status dashboard, it is going to go ahead and show you all of the outbound emails that get sent.
Super helpful. Thank you. I have a suggestion here from Anonymous telling me what their setup is. So thank you. I took a screenshot. I'm going to Google all of this and I'm going shopping this weekend. So thank you. The other one from Anonymous says that the financial integration seems so overwhelming to me. Do you have any focused training on setting up that side of the business? Yeah, we do. And if you need more training, we are more than happy to provide it. Like if you guys want a deep dive on how to set up recurring invoices, we can put that on our schedule for next open office hours. Like I said, whatever you guys need, please tell us so that we can build that for you, make life as easy as possible. Because like I said, the dream is to automatically get paid while you're sleeping. At the end of the month, the money just appears in your account, and that's what we've set up through Synchro. So if you're not doing it that way and you don't know how, we are happy to show you the way. The other suggestion I have for now, outside of like a live type of a training, we do have a playlist called Synchro Billing Training. I'm going to go ahead and just drop this link into the chat box for you guys if you wanted to go through these. Like if you're billing on a per employee basis, per asset, per customer, I'll drop that into the chat box for you guys. And again, please reference the chat box that Hannah has shared as well with those live Q&A sessions on Wednesdays that we host as well as on Fridays. And then the Synchro 101 and 102 that we host 4 days a week. 2-hour sessions. They cover everything super in depth for you. You can ask literally any questions that you need. So don't let, we don't want to stand in your way of implementing things that are going to be good for you in your business. So definitely join as often as you can and ask the right questions, and we'll help you.
Yeah, and I will add that our billing system is there's no better feeling as an MSP than waking up and you're like, oh, I forgot it was the first. Oh, look, I just billed out $125,000 of recurring revenue while I was sleeping. This is the greatest thing ever. So yeah, definitely get that integrated. Got a question from Ari saying he's jumping in late. So sorry if we already answered this. He's trying to figure out if there used to be a section on policies off to the right that would show where the policy is physically being assigned. Today, there's not, and that's basically because policies aren't assigned one-to-one like they used to be. However, we have had some other people asking this question, and we're looking to see if there's a way to do it. It's a little bit more complex than you'd think. That said, you can't accidentally delete a policy if it's assigned anywhere. So if you're like, oh, I think it's clean and it's not, it won't let you do it. So you should be protected that way. If there is a way to do it, we'll be adding it relatively soon. If there's not, obviously not. There's another one here. Sorry, I am going to butcher your name. I apologize. I think it's Asayande. Does that sound right? Okay, cool. They're asking if they can have multiple brands like per customer for system tray branding. Yes, you absolutely can. So you can have a different policy for every single customer if you wanted to, or with policy inheritance, you could even showcase like one brand at one office and a different brand at a different office if it's all under the same customer if you wanted to. Your entire tray icon is obviously customizable, brandable, and whatnot. I'm thinking the only difference there is your agent also is brandable, and the actual agent that you would deploy. So you would need to have, you can only have one there. So the actual icon would always be the same. The content within could be branded differently specific to a customer. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Andy. I'll grab one from Crystal. Says we will try to play with the template as the PDF will work for us, but I'm not able to find the field to list the time we spent on the ticket. In case you can show that tag, I will be happy. Or a way to summarize my billable time under every ticket so we can print. Yeah, let me show you. I'll show you super quick. We have 5 minutes left. This is the KB. I'm going to drop into the chat box for you right now. There's 2 sections. You need to decide which one you want to use. You can either use the ticket tags, or you can use, or I'm sorry, you can either use the ticket timer tags, or you can use the ticket tags. I like the ticket tags. There's way more options in here. So what you can do is literally just copy paste all of these. And I'll show you, and I know I'm going fast. This is recorded. You can watch it later today. That they're usually pretty quick about posting it. So you can always come back. But again, we have 4 minutes left and there's a couple other questions. So I want to make this fast. If you go to ticket preferences, additional settings, and then down at the bottom, you have the ability to paste these tags, literally just copy paste all of them and then delete the ones that you don't want after you see what they look like. But they're going to be here. Paste them all right here in the customized text for ticket charges. Paste them all in here, save, see what it looks like, delete all the stuff you don't need, and then your PDFs should be good to go from there. So I'm going to drop that into the chat box for you. And then I think I grabbed another one that I'm going to address. Someone says we are a private label MSP. We do work for our clients, businesses, schools. Is there a way we can use a billing module in this scenario? Absolutely. As long as a customer exists in your Synchro software, you will be able to create an invoice for them. Doesn't matter if they're a client of a client, or just build them their own separate profile that you're probably organizing all those assets under anyway. And yes, you can create an invoice for them.
Awesome. Thank you, Randy. To wrap up the questions that we have in queue, I see you have a Pax8 menu item. We don't have that, but I use Pax8. Can you review? I'm assuming that you've already connected the integration just in the App Center. So if you guys don't know, Pax8 is an awesome integration into Synchro. So you will first connect that. And then if you head into your admin section, what's going to happen? You're going to go to your tabs customization and you should see a Pax8 tab. And then you can just select that box. You can reorder however you would like to, and then you should be golden. Awesome, awesome. And I just want to say Randy is a prime example of literally attending every single open office hours and always coming with questions and always telling us that he learned something new. So that is awesome, and we really appreciate it.
Heck yeah. Way to go, Randy. Thank you for being here.
I'll take one more policy inheritance one. Darren's saying my instance says I've been updated the new policy inheritance feature, and when I click on new policy, I get the new screens. However, I do not have the new dashboard. If by okay, so if I understand correctly, when you say dashboard, let me bring this back up here really quick. I think you're, oh, can you stop sharing for a second? It's not letting me share. Thanks. I think you're talking about this. This is actually, this lives on customer record. So this is an actual customer, and this is this new assets and policies tab. So this is where you're going to be managing your policy. So in terms of creating, editing existing policies, that's done on the same policies tab that you had before. In terms of like deployment and what's going to be applied where, you do that here in this assets and policies tab.
Awesome, awesome. Jeremy, have a great day and weekend. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. It is almost that time. So whether it's 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. for you or Saturday, thanks so much for your time today. And we hope to see you guys at the next one. Andy, as always, we really appreciate your expertise here. So thanks for joining us again. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Have a good weekend.
Bye, guys.